So, guys, I'm speaking with Raj today of SikhWills. We're going to talk a little bit about his life events so far, and I think you're really going to resonate with a lot of the information that Raj has got to offer today, but also understand, obviously, he's been through a lot in the last 9 months, and we really want to share his story, his mindset, and how he's dealing with what he's been through in the last 9 months. So, Raj, welcome to the podcast. Very pleased to have you here, man. Really happy to have you here. And like I said in the pre-notes when we first started talking, really inspired by you, man. Your journey this last 9 months, which I'm going to let you lead with, has inspired a lot of people within the community. And from my perspective, understanding what you're going through and seeing what you're doing daily, because I follow you on Instagram, seeing the runs, seeing all the fitness, seeing the fact that you're continually empowering people with information about financially safeguarding their future and their children's future. I'm just incredibly inspired by you. So welcome to the podcast and let's talk. Cool.
Thanks, man. What a great intro. What a great intro, man.
Yeah, cool, man. I think it's very much deserved. Okay, I think people want to know who you are. So let's lead with that, Raj.
Okay. So as Juggy said, it's Raj Rainu, Raj in the posh ends, Raj in the Coventry ends. Live in Leamington Spa. I've got 3 kids, and I've got a business called SikhWills, specialising in all end-of-life planning, wills, trust, powers of attorney, funerals, funeral plans, and probate. That's my speciality. But I found a niche in the market. It's solely for Asians. As Juggy, you mentioned, Juggy, this year has been tough. Can I use F-bombs or not?
Of course you can. Just be yourself, man. Be yourself.
Yeah. So, mate, it's been fucking shit this year. really shit.
Yeah.
So last year, wife was losing a lot of weight. Went to the doctors. Literally, they gave us some acid reflux tablets. Nothing helped. Did more scans, biopsies, and when they did the biopsy, they thought, hang on, something's not right here. Beginning of Jan, they did another biopsy, took a sample of the stomach, and they confirmed you got stomach cancer, which obviously we were like, what? Fucking hell. But they said no treatment is ever going to get rid of it, and your life has been cut short considerably. Walked out the room, I walked back in, and I said to the consultant, give me a time, how long? And she's like, you really want to know? I said, yeah. She's like, she's got about 18 months, 2 years. And for me, that was like, okay, right. So I started grieving then.
Yeah.
People might think, what the fuck, she's still alive. I said, yeah, but I knew she was going to go at one point. And it was just like, no word of a lie. We told close family. I started drinking, thinking, shit, I'm going to lose my wife. I'm going to be a single dad. I've got 3 kids to look after, 9, 5, and 3. My youngest lad is 3. And then it just went downhill from there. Got a liver infection, It was tough. It was very tough. We probably spent about 4.5 months in hospital, in and out. And unfortunately, recently, about 5 weeks ago, today, she passed away at home. I've learned a lot. I'd say a new human was born with me. I'm a new person from all of this. I've learned a hell of a lot, and it's something I've been given this unbelievable amount of strength. What I was saying to you, Juggy, is, and I just need to spread it. I just need to share it with everyone. And I wrote an article on LinkedIn from there, and I write about there's always somebody worse off. So I'm not looking for sympathy. But life is hard. It is tough. It's going to get harder, but there's always somebody worse off than me.
Bobby, I think, sorry, Raj, I say Bobby because that's what I know you as. I think from everybody that's seen your article, I think from everybody that knows your story, everybody that's already heard this, I think we're all inspired by your reaction to it. Because I think it'd be so easy in this position right now for you to have caved. You've got kids, and I think one of the biggest strengths for you is the fact that you have to be strong for these 3 incredible individuals that you've raised. But I think it'd be so easy for you to just kind of cave right now. So
Yeah.
from my perspective, just how have you avoided that easy option?
I look at the kids and I think they are my strength, but they are also my weakness as
Mm.
well. They're my strength because I look at them and I think, I'll show you. I've got a picture of them on the wall there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I see them every day, every single day, and I think, what use is it for me and for you three if they see, look, there's Dad. He's pissed again, or look, he's not doing anything.
Mm.
He's lying on the sofa feeling sorry for himself. What use is that? What's that use to me? And what kind of example am I setting? My wife, when she left, knowing that my husband can look after the kids, I'm a hands-on dad.
Yeah.
So when she died, she had no worries. I know how to do everything: cook, clean. Know how to turn the washing machine on, dishwasher. The only thing I can't do is her hair. Because obviously my wife was a hair and makeup artist,
Yes,
so
of
she did
course.
all that.
Yeah.
But they keep me going, and knowing I've still got goals and targets to hit. I've got a new purpose and inner drive to keep me forward and keep me going forward. But they're my weakness as well. Like my youngest lad, Viren, every single day, 3 years old. Is Mummy coming back? Mummy come back tomorrow? God gonna fix her? Doctor's gonna fix her. I'm like, nah, V, Mummy's never coming back.
Hmm.
And that's hard for me. That breaks my heart. Avani, who's 5, she's like, oh, Daddy, can I just take a selfie so you can send it to Mummy? I'm like, yeah. And she draws pictures of Mummy, or draw a picture of them two together.
Yeah.
Naveen, she's 9, and every single day before bed, I just want Mummy to take me to bed. I just want Mummy. She knows that my wife's never coming back.
Yeah.
They were all there at the funeral. Some people telling me, no, don't do it. Don't. They're too young. But I thought, no, it's their mum. If it was a grandparent, different story. Because it's their mum. I felt as if they had to see the whole process through, the whole funeral. And I'm glad they did. I don't want them turning around to me in the future to say, well, we weren't there. Why didn't you let us go?
Yeah.
So they're my strength and they're my weakness. But they keep me going.
Man, I think again, like it's so easy hearing this, and from my perspective personally, I've really detached myself from bad news, and it's not a great way to deal with grief. When I've dealt with grief from my grandparents in the past, it took an incredible emotional toll on me in terms of my health and my mindset. And again, because I'm so keen on tracking health data, I could literally see my health deteriorate on the back of grief. And I just didn't deal with it very well. I kept hiding from it. So the fact that you're actually facing this head on, and again, coming back to what you said about the 9 months where you've actually grieved, I think potentially that is another strength that you've kind of brought to the public, that many people would hide away from this. Many people would shy away from it, not tell their children, because again, we're so our nature is to protect. And one of the things that most people would probably say right now is you need to protect them from the truth, whereas you're exposing them to the truth. And I think that's, again, incredible, because we do need to... Kids are clever these days as well. Kids are really clever.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
So we have to actually be open and honest and talk about these things.
Of course. So if I lie to them, I'm not protecting them. Because, and I've learned this because with my eldest, Naveen, I said, look, Mummy's in the sky now. She was Babaji in the sky. A couple of days later, she goes, Daddy, where's Mummy's body? I was like, what? She goes, I know Mummy's not in the sky. Tell me, where's Mummy's body? So I explained the whole process about funeral directors, coffin, and I had to tell her the truth, and she appreciates that.
Yeah.
She really, really appreciates it. When my other two, they're still young. They still think that she's up in the sky. But you have to tell them the truth.
Yeah.
I told them the truth about 5 months ago. I said, look, Mummy's not well. You can see Mummy's not well, but there might be a time when Mummy has to go up in heaven. Obviously, they started crying. And then 4 weeks before she passed away, I said the same thing. The day before she passed away, I said, look, Mummy's very, very unwell. She's going to go soon. Obviously, I had tears. And the next day, they expected Mummy, they came down, they expected Mummy to be in the room. I said, look, Mummy is gone now. Babaji's taken in the sky. Naveen walked in, literally ran upstairs, cried, locked herself in the room. Varney walked in, looked around, walked into the other room, and she goes, so Mummy's gone now? I said, yeah. Sorry. How did she go? Well, Babaji said, come on, Mummy, it's time to go now, but say goodnight kiss to your children. Okay. Can we FaceTime, Mummy? I was like, and I just, in the corner of on the shelf was my wife's phone. I said, look, Mummy's left her phone. We can't do that anymore. She's like, okay. And she carried on. V room? No. Mummy hospital? Mummy hospital, she coming back? I said, nah, V. That's it. Mummy's gone. It's just me. I am Mummy and Daddy now.
Yeah.
Okay. Next day. Mummy back? Yeah. Nah. So you have to tell them the truth.
Yeah.
Be open and honest with them, because when it happens again, when another family passes away, they'll be able to deal with it. They'll be able to deal with it. I can deal with it. My wife, she's still got awful grandparents. They're like in their 80s, 90s. So the natural selection is they're going to go first or they go next.
Yeah.
And so when they do, all my kids, they'll be able to handle it without a doubt.
Sure.
If they've lost their mum, they'll be able to handle anyone going.
Yeah. No, it's incredible, man. Do you mind if I ask, like, how did Nim deal with this? Obviously, from her perspective, was she very open with you in terms of her emotions, how she was feeling? I know you mentioned her health deteriorated, especially towards the end. Were there conversations every day? Were you dealing with it head on, or was she kind of detaching herself from the eventual scenario?
Okay, so me working in my industry, wills, end of life planning, funerals, it did make it easier for me to approach the subject. As her health did deteriorate, I did say to her, come on, you know what I do, right? So we need to start talking about your funeral wishes here. Again, she didn't cry. So we spoke about that. We spoke about what she wanted for the children as they grew older. But there was a time where she detached herself from the children and from me. So she was released from hospital for a day because it was my lad's birthday, third birthday in May. We were all in the room. He was opening presents, but I was just watching her. She wasn't really smiling. She wasn't happy. She was watching. And I'm thinking, come on, man, it's your children. But then I put myself in her shoes. I thought, if that was me, how could I show them all that love that I used to, be with them, hold them, carry them, knowing that I'm going to die and I'm going to make them suffer even more. So she did detach herself from everyone. It did make it easier for her. And to some extent, it did make it easier for my kids.
Yeah.
Definitely, without a doubt. Yeah.
So that must have been, again, she was doing that so selflessly because in her mind, she probably wanted to be there. She probably wanted to do all that. But she's protecting the kids, right? That's just incredible, man. Again, you said she didn't cry and she just got on with it. And she was like a soldier throughout this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was hard as fuck, man. If people saying to me, you're really, really strong. You're inspiring. Somebody said you're the strongest person I know. I said, no. My wife, she was strong. She was in emotional pain and physical pain. You just think you're lying in hospital. She's thinking they're my 3 kids there. When they came out of me, I made them. I'm gonna have to leave them behind. How that makes me feel really, really sad. And it breaks my heart. And thinking, we knew each other for about 20 odd years.
Yeah.
You could say childhood sweethearts. And she's thinking, as my husband there, we've done everything together. We made these children and I'm going to have to leave him behind. So that's why she detached herself. And even when she was told, you've got 12 months left to live, she didn't cry. You got 6 weeks left to live, she didn't cry. And when she was told, you do know you're going home to die now. You've only got a few days, maybe a week or so left. She's like, okay, but I'm going to fight this.
Yeah.
And she didn't even cry. And I thought, how could I disrespect her by crying and, getting all emotional? It is a big loss for me.
Yeah.
I'm a single dad now. Don't get me wrong. There are times where I do want to cry. And I will probably have shed a tear here or there. But she didn't even do that once. So she's had it 100 times harder than what I'm going through.
Yeah. I think, again, it's from my perspective. Again, speaking again, I've got clients that have dealt with cancer, but they've not dealt with death yet.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, did you guys go through any counselling? Did you seek any counselling? Do you think you will in the future to help deal with the grief?
We didn't seek any counselling. I'm not seeking any counselling. In the future, who knows? My kids are seeing a counsellor at school, but they're really fine, but they don't know it's a counsellor.
Yeah.
With me, it's all about mindset. It's all about reading books. It's all about YouTube videos, being positive, visualizing, what the future is going to hold for me. There's two names that I'll give you, which have really, really, really helped me get through this year. One is a guy called Tim Grover. He's a Sikh guy. He was Michael Jordan's trainer. Reading his book, I was like, fucking hell, man, this guy's hardcore.
Yeah.
And I messaged him at the beginning of the year, and then he messaged back saying, look, we're all going through a bad time. I didn't tell him what was happening. I was like, yeah, everyone's got their own shit going on. But I read his book about 3 times. That helped. And the other guy is a chap called David Goggins. I don't know if you heard of him.
No, I haven't.
This guy is a mental motherfucker, man. He's hardcore.
Yeah.
And because of him, I am like this. Literally, he's hardcore. He is. So I strongly advise for people to go and follow these people, especially David Goggins. It's just what his life story. It's all about mental toughness.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, not taking any counselling. For me, it's all about mental toughness, mental training, which I've been doing for about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And this is why I haven't lost my shit. This is why I can handle it.
That's incredible, man. You know what? From my perspective, I've been through depression. I've been through, the whole depression, anxiety, and everything that comes with that. Literally self-sabotaging. Alcohol played a big part in my youth, and that had a really negative effect at the time. Yeah. And again, people ask me now, like, does that make you an alcoholic? Are you not able to drink? I'm like, no, I'm able to drink now. I'm able to enjoy my life, but it's because I found my purpose. And I think you've mentioned this really early on. You found your purpose. You've with great clarity where you want to take your life and the message that you want to share and spread to the world, and the fact that you're going to be there for your kids and give them the life that they deserve. So again, your mindset, that bulletproof mindset, transpires to so many different areas of your life. And kind of one of the reasons that I brought you into, I wanted to bring you onto the Lean Indian Academy group and talk to the members, was to actually help them become bulletproof, to help them understand that there's things that we need to deal with, and safeguarding your financial future, will writing. Who talks about this? Have you ever heard anybody actually talk about this stuff?
No. So it's a very, very boring industry. What I work in. Nobody thinks, do you know what? I want a will. So it's my duty and purpose is to show people this is why you need a will. This is what happens if you don't have a will, especially if you've got children. But I do it in a different way. Well, post who I am. I'll try and make it as fun, as interesting as possible. So it is. I do have 2 sides to the business. One I launched about 6-7 years ago, and 4 years ago I was at the gym, and I was just lifting the dumbbells. I thought, SikhWills. I'm Sikh. I know the culture. I know the language. So I did a bit of research, and I set SikhWills up. It was a challenge at first because with some upbringing, all they want is a discount. Or okay, I need this. How much can you discount?
Yeah. So
they've got they want like a Ferrari service, but their budget is like a Nissan Micra. I said, no, it doesn't work like that, man. I'm Indian. I'll offer you a discount if I can, but it don't work like that.
Yeah.
But so at first it was a challenge, but once you start explaining, they'll be like, okay, that's fine. So it's a very, very interesting, for me, it's interesting industry.
Do you find?
My aim
Sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
Do you find it's quite a taboo subject still?
Massively taboo.
Okay.
Absolutely. Most people think making a will is going to make them die quicker. It's like they're tempting fate. Trust me, my wife made a will, and it's made things so much easier for me. If me and my wife died together, the people would know what to do. All the kids will be taken care of. Guardians, they will know what to do because we left them money to take care of the children. We left instructions for the children for the guardians on what to do. This is why you need everything in black and white. Otherwise, you will get family members fighting over money, fighting over the estate. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in my family. It just tears everyone apart.
Again, I think, we've got, you've mentioned there about working specifically with Indians, with Sikhs, the culture very, very well. We've got land in India that we've got to contend with over there. We've got money in different accounts. We've got different businesses to look after. I think, you know that, and you bringing that service to the people and actually making it clearer as well to understand that it's not, you're not going to die quicker because you made a will. You just need to have this stuff in place. And that financial security, I think that gives a level of peace of mind. And I think one of the reasons that I wanted to bring you into the group and talk to everyone was one of the biggest stresses that people go through day to day, whether they like it or not, is finances. It's whether they've got money, they need to obviously have arrangements in place, whether they haven't got money and they're chasing money, whatever it is, everybody's in the rat race at some level. So I think that's the other thing that I wanted to bring you on board and just talk about. What do people need to think about when it comes to future planning?
Okay, so there's about 4 or 5 main points here. One is a will, because a will determines where all your money assets go after you pass away. It can be anyone you want to. But if you don't have a will, the government decides who it goes to. So I'll share a story about that. I went to see someone last year. He'd been meaning to make a will, but he fell ill. I chased him up 4 weeks later. No, he goes, I'm not ready yet. 6 weeks later, no, I'm not ready. I get a text from the cousin to say he's passed away. No mum and dad, no children, just one brother. And he had owned a house worth about 180 grand. That house went to his brother because he made no will. But he didn't speak to his brother for 14 years. So if he'd made a will, he could have determined, okay, when I pass away, my house, I want it to go to my cousin because, me and him are like brothers. No will, it goes to his brother. He's probably laughing, thinking, oh, I've got this, I'm going to sell it, I've got all this cash. That's one of the reasons why a will is important. Number 2 is a lasting power of attorney. So that's like a legal document which determines your decisions after you lose your marbles, for example. So if you're in an accident, you're in intensive care, who's going to manage your finances? Who's going to make those decisions? Who's going to make the decisions on your health and welfare? If the doctor says he's not going to survive, or he is survive, but there's a 50% chance he's going to be a vegetable, what do you want to do? And if that was me, I can nominate anyone I want. I could nominate my sister, for example, or my sister-in-law to make that decision for me. And if you've got a joint bank account, so if the husband's in a coma, there's a problem with the joint bank account, all the mortgage or the bills are coming out, the banks find out that the husband's lying up in a coma, they will freeze that account because they want to protect the husband. For all we know, the wife could be having an affair with some Italian stallion. She could go in, take the money out and piss off to Italy. Yeah. So this is why a lasting power of attorney is important. So that's the second document. You've got the will, lasting power of attorney. Third one is a prepaid funeral plan. So a prepaid funeral plan, again, this is a massively taboo, is where you pay for your funeral whilst you're alive. Yeah. So the average cost of a funeral is around about five and a half grand. I used to work in the funeral industry, so and that's how much it is. But if I take out a prepaid funeral plan, which I have, I've paid it all off. I paid £3,700 for it. If I pass away in 20, 30 years' time, and the cost of a funeral is 15 grand, none of my kids pay a penny. So I've paid it all off. Yeah. So it saves a lot of headache, a lot of heartache, and it saves a lot of money. So that's the third thing. The fourth one is life insurance. Life insurance is so important. let's just say we got husband and wife. They got 3 children. Husband passes away. And the wife is a stay-at-home mum. How's she going to pay the bills? How's she going to bring up the children? So this is why a life insurance is very, very important. If you're young, fit, and healthy, you could be paying £10 a month, and that could pay out maybe 150 grand. And 150 grand, that's a lot of money, to support children.
Yeah.
So that's why those 4 things: a will, lasting power of attorney, prepaid funeral plan, and life insurance. They're very, very important things to have in place.
That's really insightful. I think I'm just sitting here thinking after this phone call we need to chat. I'm actually sure most of the people in the Lean Indian Academy will be thinking the same thing right now. But again, it's just one of those things that you either put on the back burner or you just don't appreciate just how short life can be. You never know what's around the corner, right?
Hey, trust me, the amount of deathbed wills that I've done, I've had to go to hospital 3 times this year because it's that old school mentality. Oh, no, I don't need a will. Everything's going to go to my sons. But at the hospital bed, this chap has seen his children argue over the estate. He's thinking, I'm not even dead yet.
Yeah.
So daughter's called me. We need you to come to the hospital, take my dad's instructions. And I've had to do that. And then 2 weeks later, he's passed away. Thankfully, we've got everything in place.
Yeah.
But don't leave it last minute because, as we all know now, death can come around anytime. My wife was 34, so it can come anytime.
Yeah, I think in our 30s, I'm obviously just turned 30 now, we still think we're invincible, but we're not. And I think that's really important for everybody to be aware of.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Absolutely.
In terms of, again, you've mentioned a few interesting cases that you've been through, in your career so far. Are there any other kind of, scenarios that you've been through that you thought people should be aware of this stuff, but they're not? Because I see your videos on Facebook and I think they're really informative. Yeah. But I just think, again, people maybe step away from it thinking that will never happen to me. But have you been into any other scenarios that you think would be cool to share with the guys?
So just quickly going back to your question about what the processes, the things you need to put in place. I mentioned wills, powers of attorney, funeral plans, life insurance. The 5th one is, which I just remembered somebody put a question about, it's about having a trust in place.
Okay.
So a trust is like a legal document. It's a very powerful mechanism where you can put money in, life insurance in, stocks and shares, property in there, and it can distribute it to whoever you want after you pass away. It's a very, very valuable thing to have because you get a tax-free threshold of 325 grand for single people, 650 for married. Let's just say you've got a 700 grand estate. So you're £50,000 over. So the government will charge you 40% tax on that. So one way to eliminate that is to set up a trust. Okay. So you can have 300 grand cash or 50 grand cash in the bank, and you can put that into a trust, which takes it out of your estate, which brings you well within your tax-free allowance. So this is why a trust is a very, very important thing to have. And there was a client, they had about £1 million portfolio. Just doing the maths, we set up a couple of trusts. We sent her 280 grand in inheritance tax fees.
Bloody hell.
So, yeah, all she had was a basic will.
Yeah.
If you've got a basic will, that's not enough. That is just not enough to protect you. Wolverhampton, last year, the chappie passed away. He was on benefits, just one brother, one sister, no will. I went to see the brother because he called me saying, look, I only understand Punjabi, can you come and explain everything? Went to see him. I was dealing with the probate. So the probate is a process after death where you distribute the estate, whoever it needs to go to. It's about 60 grand estate. So it wasn't the biggest. With the rules of intestacy, what that means is so the government decides who gets what. 50% to the sister, 50% to the brother. Simple. But the sister said, I don't want anything. I thought, why is that then? She goes, I'm on benefits. So basically, if she accepted that money, that 30 grand, her benefits would stop. So legally, she has to tell the Department of Work and Pensions that she's entitled to it. So she's in a catch-22. Even if she doesn't want it, they'll ask, why don't you want it? Because my benefits will stop. They're going to stop it anyway. The chap that passed away, if he'd made a will and a trust, they could get that money.
Yeah.
So if there's any people who are watching and listening to this, if there's any people who have got any kind of disability or family members with disability, it's important to set up a trust. Simply because if you've got a disabled daughter, for example, you want to leave money to her, you can put that money into a trust. She could still receive her benefits, and she could still get that inheritance. So this is why a trust is, very important.
Again, it's just, for me, it's mind-blowing because I'm hearing all this for the first time, really, and trying to understand this and understand how it can have an impact on my own family with kids myself. I'm genuinely constantly worried about what would happen if something was happened to me. And I think everything you've just kind of described so far is really, really valuable. Just on while we're talking about what you do and how you do it, is there anything further that you think in terms of advice that you've got for us? As all of us are potential clients, I think, because I think none of us are actually thinking right now about these things that you're discussing. I don't think there's many people within the group that have actually thought about having a process in place. So is there any other advice that you've got for us right now?
So the things to think about when making a will. So people call me and say, I want to make a will. Okay, so what have you thought about? Nothing really. Just to make things easier for all of us, speed things up, is you need to calculate the size of your estate. So everything you've got in your name, stocks, shares, life insurance, money in the bank, property, add all that together, then minus any loans, any mortgages, store cards, credit cards, any debt, and that's how big your estate is.
Okay.
From there, who do you want to give that to? I want to give it to my wife. Okay, so if you two both pass away together, then who does it go to? I'll go to my two boys. Okay, if one of them passes away, then where do you want that share to go? Do you want it to go to a surviving sibling, or do you want it to go within the bloodline? Who to? So that's the other thing. The other one is the executor. So their role is to make sure your wishes are carried out. It's a big responsibility, a lot of form filling, a lot of time off work. So that's what their responsibility is.
Yeah.
If there's an inheritance tax to pay, it has to be paid within 6 months. And there could be a case where the executor has to pay out their own pocket first, and then they claim it back from the estate.
Yeah.
So if you think there's a 260 grand tax bill to pay, the executor might have to pay that and then claim it back.
Okay.
always have a reserve as well in case something happens to that executor and they pass away. So you need to have a reserve.
Yeah.
Think about all your gold jewelry. Up and in, have gold jewelry lying around. What's going to happen with that?
Yeah.
Funeral side of things. Cremated burial, mainly cremated. Do you want your organs to be donated? Ashes. This is where no one really thinks about. Where do you want your ashes scattered? So with the older generation, they like to go back to India. Our generation, you probably haven't even thought about that.
Yeah.
Whereas me and my wife, again, we discussed this ages ago. We both used to work in Stratford upon Avon. Okay. And so that's where I'm going to go and
that's really weird.
Ashes.
That's really weird. That's what I said to my wife as well. That's really strange. And again, my Bibi and Bubba will both be in Stratford upon Avon. So
exactly.
It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just interrupted you there.
No. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. So these are the things. Again, working in the funeral industry, did a funeral for a lady. She's about 98 years old. Older son comes into the office with the younger son. We've come to collect mum's ashes. That's fine. Mum's wishes were to go to India, said the older brother. Young brother said, no, it wasn't, to be done locally. And they started arguing. I said, I can't release it until you resolve this. 10 months later, the ashes are still there.
Yeah.
This is why you need to put it down in your will.
Yeah.
And then you can also put down in the funeral plan as well. You can put anything down, because with every will, I will give you like a funeral wishes plan. You can write down what you want to wear, what shabad you want at the funeral, what songs you want, if there's any specific colours you want family and friends to wear.
Yeah.
You can be very, very specific. Again, it eliminates any arguing after death.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think, again, it's
they're
such an emotional time after death, and everybody's obviously really, really high on emotion, and then that can cause issues within itself. So just having all that stuff in place, that's really cool, man. Things, again, people don't think about. And it could eliminate a lot of stress within a lot of people's lives. With will rides and with what you do in terms of future planning, is there anything people should be aware of? Like, are there kind of almost scams around? You know, like within my industry, I always point people in the right direction, tell them not to do this and not to do that. Is there anything that you'd advise people against?
Yeah, so there's a lot of cowboy will writers out there. That's what they're known as. So what they will do, they will set up a shitty little firm, self-employed. They will cold call. They'll go out and see the clients, fill out a form, take the money, and they won't deliver. There's a lot of people like that. So one way to overcome that is just to make sure they're like with a governing body. They're regulated by someone like Society of Will Writers, Countrywide Tax and Trust. You know, there's about 4 or 5 big main ones out there. Just make sure that they're regulated by them, because normally they're insured as well.
Yeah.
So if something happens to me, I pass away, my company folds, you'd always get the goods delivered because of insurance wise.
Sure. Okay, that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Were there any questions that came through that we need to discuss? Because I think there were a few questions posed in the group. Let me just.
I think one was about the trust thing. One was about, I think, that was closed. Something about if a grandparent wants to give something to their grandchild, so it bypasses their children. Again, that can be done simply via will. So it all depends what they want to give. Is it property? Is it money? Because most grandparents want to give like cash, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 pounds. All you need to do, you can nominate, I want 20,000 pounds to go to my grandson. His name is this, date of birth. Or I've got 20 grand in this bank account number, sort code, going to my granddaughter.
Yeah.
So it can definitely be done, but it needs to be done via a will.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
To be honest, I think that you actually covered the majority of the questions. So I think a few people asked about the trust, right?
Yeah.
And then a little bit about, I think you've just mentioned there about the inheritance and how that can be done retrospectively. I think that's pretty much everything in terms of questions. Bobby, I'm just going to ask you a few questions now. I know you've mentioned 2 of the people that have really helped you in terms of your mindset. Are there any books that you recommend?
One is that guy, I forgot his name, man. And I've just told you, not David Goggins. Come on, Juggy, if you were listening.
Yeah, I was listening. I wrote a note down, but I can't see it. Tim
Grover.
There, I was listening. I told you I was listening.
So yeah, his book is called Relentless.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Yeah, get that. There's Jocko Willink.
Yeah,
he's a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
So his books as well, but it's mainly the books that I read is about business.
Okay.
So at the same time, it's about business because I need to keep busy. I need to keep busy this year. But there's a lot of people on YouTube that I follow, like Gary V, Evan Carmichael, Grant Cardone, Patrick Bet-David. There's a lot of, it's not just business skills, it's about life skills in there as well. So you can relate your business skills to your life skills. But when it comes to mental toughness training, just type that in YouTube.
Yeah.
And that'll help you. But definitely, without a doubt, David Goggins.
Cool.
Definitely. And stuff like every single day, morning and night, I write down my goals. Literally, I write down my goals, I do. Yes. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
First thing I do when I wake up, I'll write down what my goals are because it sorts me out for the day.
Yeah.
Before I go to bed, I dream of my goals and I'll get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
So that is really, that's one thing I highly recommend to people. Do that, and then, like you said, journal. You know,
Yeah.
I've got a planner in place,
Yeah.
and I review everything. You know, at the end of the month.
That's awesome, man.
So stuff like that, and that comes under mindset as well.
I think,
Mindset.
so this my journal. So within this, it begins with gratitude. So actually recognizing the things that we are, there's things that happen every single day that we just kind of, take for granted sometimes. Like yesterday, Jacob running up to me when I came home from work and jumping at me, like that meant, so much in that moment. And every morning reliving that emotion, that happiness, reliving that moment, and it sets you so much energy for the day. And I think that's one thing I love doing. So I love writing about it, but as a writer, experiencing it again, I think that's incredible. I think what you've mentioned there about the goals. So within this, I set this as goals as well to work towards. And then I set it as affirmations. The fact that we're actually going to achieve this thing. So it's not just, things written down on paper. It's things that we can do. We have the capability of doing. And we're here to obviously live with purpose. So I think that's an incredible tool, man.
It is. And like affirmations, but it's like self-talk. I am like going to be the best in the industry. I am a provider. I take care of my children. I'm a great husband. You have to say these things out loud, or as Tony Robbins says, incantations. That really say it with feeling. Visualization is another massive thing. I've got in my phone, in my calendar, 3 times a day, alarm pops up and it will say visualize. And whatever I'm doing, I'll stop and I'll just sit there. Sometimes I'll close my eyes. Sometimes I'll just look out and I'll visualize everything. And because that keeps you focused, that keeps you on track. You're having a shit day, visualize. Having a shit day, look at your goals, write them down.
That's incredible.
That'll sort you out, and that's what's keeping me going in all this. This is why I haven't cracked, because I've got to provide for my children.
I think I mentioned this earlier, but relating this back to people's journeys within the Lean Indian Academy, a lot of people are looking to lose weight, achieve a certain body shape, whatever it might be. And I think the first word that you need to say to yourself is, I can do this, or I believe in myself. Because as soon as you say to yourself, this is difficult, I can't do this, I can't meal prep today, I can't do that, the whole process is a downward spiral. I think with yourself, you mentioned earlier on that you've done, you've gone out, you've done like 6-mile runs, things that you wouldn't even thought of doing. You've lost, 4 inches on your waist as well?
Yeah, so July I was 38 waist, and I bought a pair of jeans a couple of days ago, 34. I'm in 34 waist for about, 14 years maybe? 14 years. Starting to see a bit of definition as well. Because it's all about mindset. And I put a post up on Instagram, and somebody messaged me saying, "Oh, I need to do that." I said, no, change need, get rid of need. I will do that. Or, I have done that. So when I write down my goals, I don't write, I will be doing this. I am going to do this. I write it in the present tense. I am easily running 20 miles a day. I am 10% body fat. I am this. I am. So you need to write it as if you've already achieved it. That's a different mindset altogether.
The words that I absolutely despise, like hopefully or try. People that say those words straight away, I call them up on it, because it's not going to happen unless you commit. But,
absolutely. And the other thing is time. When people say, I ain't got time. If you're standing in front of me and say, I ain't got time, don't be startled if I punch you in the nose. Because my time is so limited now, being a single dad. I've got to pick up my little lad in 1 hour. I've got to cook, clean, I've got to do everything, sort the kids out, and I've got to work as well in all of this. Late nights, early mornings. So if you can't fucking be asked to go to the gym and you're complaining about being overweight, fuck you, man.
Perspective.
When people say, I haven't got time to go to the gym, just change it. Change the wording and say, it's not a priority for me. My health isn't a priority. And they'll sit back and think, do you know what? You're right. For me, it's not a priority. I'll go, clearly, if you haven't got your health, what have you got? Nothing. So it's all about changing your mindset and changing your words and how you talk to yourself.
That's amazing, Bobby. Raj. Professional name. Okay, Raj, where can we find you, man? So there's going to be lots of people looking for you now. what platforms, what websites, where can we find you?
Yeah. Okay. So if we start on the business side of things, SikhWills.com. On Facebook as well, facebook.com/SikhWills. I am launching another side of the business called Sikh Funeral Planning, where it'll make everything easier for people to, when it comes to prepaid funeral plans. So that'll be launching within the next week or two.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Raj Singh Rainu. Search me on there.
Yeah.
Facebook, if you want to connect me in personally, it's Bobby SikhWills Singh Rainu.
Yeah.
Obviously in the Lean Academy, that you can connect me on there as well. In Instagram, it's Singspirational.
Yeah.
So Sing and then Inspirational. Twitter, Raj Singh Rainu.
Perfect. That's incredible, man. Okay, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an incredible conversation, so many insights, so many knowledge bombs, and in terms of your mindset, again, I think there's so many things that we can all take from this. Just appreciate your time, man. So thank you very much.
It's been great, man. And really a nice way of me easing back into work by doing this. So I really appreciate it, Jiggy. Thank you, man.
Amazing, man. Well, take care, and I'm hoping we'll get you on again soon, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of follow-up questions on this.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime.
Amazing. Well, thank you, bro. Cheers.
All right. Cheers, man. Cheers.